In the sunny coral reef, Coral the clownfish zipped past Ollie Octopus, giggling about bubbles tickling her fins. Pearl the oyster polished a shiny pebble, while Shelby the hermit crab tried to race a drifting leaf. "Race you to the sand patch," Coral said, as Ollie waved all 8 arms in excitement. Ollie swam slower, spotting a faint glow under a cluster of rocks. The shimmer looked like tiny stars trapped inside sugar. "Whoa, is that candy?" he whispered, glancing around to ensure Coral, Pearl, and Shelby were too busy laughing at Shelby's losing race with the leaf to notice his curious discovery. He reached a careful tentacle under the rock and pulled out a glowing candy swirl. The water around it felt warmer, almost like it was smiling at him. "Just one. No one will see," Ollie said, eyes darting left and right to make sure his friends weren't watching him closely. Ollie popped the candy into his mouth, and it fizzed like a tiny party in his cheeks. His eyes widened, and he nearly giggled bubbles out loud. "Taste explosion," he whispered, quickly covering his mouth so Coral's curious eyes wouldn't catch him enjoying this mysterious treat he had just found. Across the sand, Pearl shouted, "Shelby, you're losing to the leaf." Shelby puffed. "That leaf cheats." Ollie laughed nervously, feeling the candy's glow wiggle in his tummy. He swam back toward them, hoping his glowing smile wasn't too suspicious or too bright, and that his friends would stay focused on their silly race. Coral tilted her head. "Ollie, why are you glowing like a lanternfish?" Ollie scratched his head with one arm. Maybe I swallowed a flashlight," he said, trying to sound serious. Pearl chuckled. "You're funny, but that's fishy." Ollie's grin widened, but his glowing cheeks made hiding harder than expected. Shelby stopped mid-step. "Wait, did you find something shiny?" Ollie's eyes darted toward the rock cluster, betraying him. "Shiny? Me? No, I found, a very reflective bubble," he said, puffing his cheeks in fake innocence. Shelby raised an eyebrow, clearly not believing Ollie's strange and slippery explanation for his glow. The friends swam closer, Coral poking the sand near Ollie's feet. "I think he's hiding something sweet," she sang in a teasing voice. Ollie giggled nervously. "Sweet? Maybe my personality," he said, almost tripping over Shelby's shell as he tried to keep his glowing secret from slipping out completely. Pearl crossed her shell halves dramatically. "We demand candy justice," she declared, winking at Coral. Ollie sighed, realizing his glowing grin had given him away. "Okay, maybe I found something tasty," he said. Coral's eyes sparkled, while Shelby leaned closer, eager to hear the full truth about Ollie's secret treasure. Shelby clapped his claws. "Confess before Coral tickles you." Coral twirled and giggled. "Tickle power engaged." Ollie raised all arms in surrender. All right, no tentacle tickles. I ate one glowing candy," he admitted. His friends gasped and then grinned, clearly more amused than upset by Ollie's glowing underwater snack choice. The reef seemed to pause. Then Coral burst out laughing. "You mean you've been a walking nightlight all this time?" Pearl giggled. "He's a snack and a lamp." Ollie blushed, but soon joined their laughter. The glow in his belly felt warmer now that his friends were laughing with him. Shelby tilted his shell. "Where's the rest?" Ollie pointed toward the rock cluster. "They're hiding, but not very well." Coral zoomed off, shouting, "Candy hunt time!" The friends darted eagerly toward the glowing spot, their excitement bubbling faster than the shimmering candy that still hid under the cluster of rocks. Pearl waddled to the rocks, prying them gently apart. Shelby peeked inside and gasped. "It's like a candy treasure chest in here." The glow lit up their faces like a tiny sunrise. Coral's fins twitched with joy, while Ollie felt relief at finally sharing his sweet discovery with his friends. Ollie grinned. "We could share them if you promise no tickle attacks for a week." Coral stuck out her fin. "Deal." Pearl nodded, agreed. Shelby pretended to sign with a claw. The glowing treats seemed to shimmer brighter now that they were part of an official no-tickle candy-sharing agreement. They each took a glowing piece, holding them up like trophies. "Ready? 1, 2, 3, Ollie counted. They all popped them into their mouths at once. The fizz made them giggle and hiccup tiny bubbles, which floated up like sparkling confetti in the warm water around their happy group. Coral's eyes sparkled. "This tastes like rainbow giggles," Pearl laughed. "And bubble pancakes," Shelby snorted. "Mine tastes like victory over that leaf." Ollie's tentacles waved with amusement, enjoying the silly flavors his friends imagined. The glowing candy seemed to fill the reef with more laughter than sweetness, and that felt perfect. Ollie chuckled. "See? Sharing makes it even tastier." Coral nodded. "And more fun than hiding." Pearl added, "Especially when it glows in your belly." Shelby grinned, enjoying the moment. The friends floated together, realizing the candy's magic wasn't just in the flavor, it was in the joy they shared together. They swam in loops, leaving a trail of glowing bubbles behind. Shelby shouted, "We're like a candy-powered parade." Coral twirled mid-water. "Watch my candy cartwheel." The glowing bubbles drifted upward, making the reef look like it had its own sparkling fireworks show, all thanks to their shared sweet treat. Ollie tried a spin, but his tentacles tangled into a wobbly knot. "Candy knot," he laughed, and Pearl helped untangle him. "You're better at eating than spinning," she teased. Ollie grinned sheepishly, deciding that being good at candy was an important skill, even if his spins needed more practice. Shelby balanced his candy wrapper on his shell, pretending it was a crown. "Bow to the Candy King," he declared. Coral bowed dramatically, almost bumping into a coral branch. Pearl covered her mouth to hide a giggle, while Ollie pretended to present Shelby with a royal bubble scepter for fun. Pearl held her empty shell open. "Candy, please refill." Ollie shook his head. "Sorry, magic candy doesn't take orders." Coral sighed dramatically. "Guess we'll just have to enjoy the memory." Their laughter echoed through the reef, mixing with the fading glow that still shimmered faintly from their last shared pieces. They floated together, watching the last glow fade from their candy stash. Shelby said, "It was worth every bubble." Pearl smiled, "And every laugh." Coral's fins brushed Ollie's arm, and Ollie felt happy knowing their fun had come from sharing, not hiding, even if the candy had started as his secret. Ollie took a deep breath. "I'm glad I told you the truth." Coral patted his arm. "Honesty's sweeter than any candy." Shelby nodded, "Even glowing ones." The reef's water shimmered around them as they realized their friendship had grown stronger with each bite, giggle, and honest word they had shared. Pearl added, because friends make sweetness last longer. Ollie chuckled, and tickle threats shorter. Coral winked. Until next time. The friends drifted slowly, enjoying the quiet moment after their candy adventure, each one carrying the glow of laughter and honesty in their hearts, even after the candy's light had faded. They swam back toward their favorite sand patch, giggling about the glowing parade. Shelby challenged, "Race you, but no cheating, Leaves." Coral shouted, "You're on." Ollie followed, waving his arms like victory flags, while Pearl swam at her own pace, smiling at how playful and silly her friends could be. Pearl stayed behind a moment, looking at the rock cluster. She whispered, "Thanks for the sweet surprise," before catching up with the others. Ollie glanced back and smiled quietly, happy that his little secret had turned into a glowing memory they could all treasure together in their bright coral reef. The reef shimmered in the late sunlight, colors brighter than before. Coral spun in circles, making the water sparkle around her. "Best day ever," she declared. Shelby laughed, splashing tiny waves, while Pearl clapped her shells. Ollie swam nearby, feeling proud of the honesty and joy they had all shared. Ollie agreed, especially because we shared it. Shelby grinned, and because I didn't lose to a leaf this time. Pearl laughed. Small victories taste sweet too. Coral's giggles joined theirs, and the reef seemed to hum with the sound of friends whose day had been filled with candy and truth. They all floated in a happy circle, the reef calm around them. Coral said, "Let's remember, honesty tastes sweeter than secret candy." Ollie nodded, smiling at his friends. Together, they drifted home through the glowing water, carrying the memory of their candy adventure in their hearts like a gentle light.